Once you start walking through your opponents and winning invincibly, you just start thinking that, nobody out there can touch you.
It was supposed to be another easy title defense for the fighter generally regarded as one of boxing's best. But when WBC Super Welterweight champion Terry Norris met Simon Brown almost 1 year ago, the unthinkable happened. Quick left and down goes Norris.
He's a knockdown.
Good right hand by Brown. He's just letting it all hang out. This could be his last stand, and he's coming through that ball. And look at this. Norris is stunned, wobbly as he goes to the corner. He's only lost 3 times in 39 fights, Terry Norris. Down he goes. Right hand. Terry Norris is down, and this might be it. Can he get up? It was a humiliating performance and devastating defeat for a fighter who believed he was the best in the world. And for the rematch, he trained as he had never trained before.
But I tried to do everything I could. I must have trained like 3 months for that fight. And I just constantly, it wasn't just physically sparring or working out. I'd be somewhere talking to Dad. We'd be out fishing. I'd be talking to Dad about the fight. We'd be out swimming and talking about the fight. I was into that fight. I was really into it. I wanted to beat Simon Brown.
5 months later, eager for revenge, Norris entered the ring for his rematch with Simon Brown.
When I stepped into that fight, I told my dad, I said, I want to win every round. I want to beat him to the punch. I want to make sure that he believes when he steps out of his ring that I really beat him and that I really can beat him.
Norris just throwing everything at Brown.
Unanimous decision, and new champion, Terry Norris.
I guess that's the greatest feeling of all time for me to be able, that's for the second time I've come back off a knockout and come back and won a world title.
Now, with his belt regained and reputation redeemed, Norris resumes his quest to prove he is boxing's best.
The one I really want the most, I think, would be Whitaker. And not only for the money, but I want to prove, that pound-for-pound thing. I want to shut him up completely. I don't believe he's pound-for-pound the best fighter in the world. And then I'd like to unify the title.
But before he meets Whitaker, or becomes the first in 19 years to unify the Super Welterweight title, he must not forget the lessons learned from his loss to Simon Brown and get past tonight's opponent, Luis Santana.
I learned in the first fight with Simon Brown not to be overconfident. And in the fight with Luis Santana, I believe that, I won't underestimate him and I won't be overconfident.
At 34 years old, Santana is the most dangerous of opponents, as he has little to lose and everything to gain.
This is the most important fight for me, because I've waited 22 years for this opportunity. God has given me the opportunity to go after this title.
He comes out as a puncher. He doesn't have a lot of boxing skills. He doesn't stick a move. He's flat-footed. He stands in front of you.
This is the last opportunity I have. This time I'm coming to fight like an animal, because if I lose, I won't fight again. And I'm not up to losing. I have to win.
If I was 34 years old, I think I'd come out the same way, trying to knock him out, trying to hurt me. I think I can keep him off balance and hopefully outmaneuver him.
Terrible Terry Norris was certainly focused for his rematch with Simon Brown. But Norris must not be careful, and he must be careful not to make the same mistakes as he made in his past fights against opponents like Troy Waters and the first Brown matchup. So we will see if the WBC Super Welterweight champion Norris can impress the boxing critics in his second reign as champion against the veteran Luis Santana. Norris versus Santana is next. Let's go back down to ringside once again. Steve Albert. Steve.
All right, Jim. Terry Norris is back in the picture as far as best pound-for-pound fighter in the world by dominating Simon Brown as he intended to do from the opening bell. Not that he would take anyone lightly, particularly after what he's been through. but his opponent tonight has 15 losses, and this would be a major upset. So while Norris won't admittedly call this a tune-up, we will. Therefore, the burning question, who's next? Does Terrible Terry move up in weight or unify the titles? Does he fight Pernell Whitaker, Frankie Randall, the winner between James Toney versus Roy Jones Jr., or the other champions of his division, Julio Cesar Vazquez or Vincent Petway? Conventional wisdom would say they're not exactly lining up so fast to fight Norris with that heavy-handed and unpredictable reputation, and a man who has defeated numerous champions. Now, Norris's opponent tonight, 35-year-old Luis Santana, whose only previous crack at a world title, 1989, when he lost a decision to Simon Brown. He's also lost decisions to champions Crisanto España, Vinny Pazienza, and Darren Van Horn. He certainly has the experience, but Ferdy, is that enough against a guy like Terry Norris?
Well, he's got the kind of experience I don't like. He's got the kind of experience of losing all the time against top-flight competition. Well, he's in the top-flight competition tonight. I think it's too much for him. I think he's way in over his head.
Now, Santana has not had success at higher weights, while Norris has had his problems with focusing on lesser opponents. Bobby, what's your read on that?
Well, Santana hasn't had great success at the top-notch levels in the lesser weights or in the bigger weights. He just hasn't gotten it done. But he told me in a couple of interviews that we had that he has not had a chance to make weight properly. Short notice on the fights, a lot of weight to lose in a little bit of time, no preparation. He assured me for this fight, he's 100% ready, win, lose, or draw. Now, for Terry Norris, he had two wake-up calls. Troy Waters in the first Simon Brown fight. Second Simon Brown fight is the new Terry Norris. I don't think we'll ever see the old Terry Norris again. I think the new one is here to stay.
All right, Bobby, let's get our first look at the challenger right now. 35-year-old veteran Luis Santana, who has not fought in exactly 1 year. He has lost 7 of his last 10 fights. Tonight, his second world title shot, the first in '89 when he fought valiantly only to lose via decision to Brown. He is a 2-time NABF welterweight champion who has gone the distance with some of the top contenders in the division. The only named fighter he's beaten, Sean O'Sullivan. Born in Romana, Dominican Republic, resides in New York, record of 38-15-2, 29 knockouts, turned pro in '81. And now here's the champion, Terry Norris, back on the throne after the brief overthrow. The 27-year-old Norris going for his 11th title defense overall, coming off the rematch, a win over Simon Brown this past May. So it's his first defense of his second reign. He avenged his '93 loss to Brown with that tremendous boxing exhibition to regain the belt. Terrible Terry, born in Lubbock, Texas, now lives in Campo, California, a record of 38-4, 23 knockouts, 12-2 in title fights. And those losses to Julian Jackson in '89, his first world title shot, and of course versus Brown in December of '93 in Puebla, Mexico. That's a night he would like to forget, but he'll always be remembered as the man who permanently retired Sugar Ray Leonard. Let's check the numerical breakdown. The tail of the tape. Norris at 27, 8 years younger than Santana. Norris 5'9½", Santana 5'10". Both under the 154 limit. Norris a spelt 151, Santana 152.5. And the reach, Norris 68.5, Santana 67. And to the WBC rules for this title fight, 10-point must scoring system, 3 judges scoring, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. So here at the Plaza de Toros, Mexico, getting set for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship, Terry Norris versus Luis Santana. Back up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Damas y caballeros, ahora tenemos una atracción especial. Presentamos el título peso super welter del Consejo Mundial de Boxeo. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we present the WBC Super Welterweight Championship of the World, brought to you by Don King Productions and Promotora Alfaga in association with King Vision, SET, Pay-Per-View, and Corona. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, Presidente José Suleiman, Supervisor Juan José Herrera Ornelas, along with la Comisión de Box de Distrito Federal. Presentando a los jueces, presenting to you the judges at ringside. Guillermo Memo Ayón, Tony Castellano, and Marco Antonio Rodriguez. Presenting the referee in charge of this bout, Mitch Halpern. All right, fans, here we go with the WBC Super Welterweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing, el Campeonato Peso Super Welter del CMB de 12 asaltos. Primero, presentando al retador en la esquina azul. Presenting to you first the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green trunks with red trim. un peleador de Bancola, La Romana, in the Dominican Republic. Pesando 69.1 kilogramos, he weighed in at 152 1/2 pounds. Con un récord de 38 victorias, 15 derrotas y 2 empates, tiene 29 victorias por knockout. His record includes 38 wins, 15 losses, 2 draws, with 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the challenger, ranked the number 9 welterweight by the WBC, the former 2-time NABF champion, presentando al retador número 9 peso welter en el mundo, el hijo de la República Dominicana, Luis Cucuso Santana. Y al campeón en la esquina roja, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red trunks with white trim, fighting out of the First Fighter Squadron in Campo, California, by way of Lubbock, Texas, en los Estados Unidos. Con un peso de 68.5 kilogramos, his weight a trim and ready 151 pounds. Tiene un récord de 38 victorias y 4 derrotas, con 23 victorias por knockout. His record includes 38 wins, 4 losses, with 23 wins coming by way of knockout. In his second reign as champion tonight, he is making the 11th defense of his title. Please welcome the WBC Super Welterweight Champion of the World. Demos la bienvenida al campeón terrible, Terry Norris. Aquí está el referee, Mitch Halpern.
Gentlemen, this will be a clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Any questions? Judge Bell, come on.
So we're getting set for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship. Terry Norris, when training for his rematch with Simon Brown, he'd watch tapes of the first fight with his hands blocking the top of the screen and the faces of the two fighters so he wouldn't see himself so humiliated. Of course, a different story in the rematch. Luis Santana says he'd like to get Norris out of his plan of boxing, get him to slug it out. Probably his only chance here is to make Norris fight toe-to-toe. And you know, it's something, usually bad-blooded boxing press conferences are hype. But this past Wednesday, there was what seemed like a very real altercation. Santana, though, could be using this as a ploy to get Norris out of his game plan of boxing.
Well, he said he planned to do that on 3 different occasions, and he did. He came out and actually tried to punch him, and just to get Terry mad at him. But you know, Terry's a pro. I mean, he is here to fight and to put in hard punches. You've already seen he's putting in the hard punches, and to get rid of this guy as soon as possible.
Santana said what he's going to try and do is bring the heat himself a little bit early. Not much of a boxer, you can tell. He wants to come and bring the fight. And he said his best weapon is going to be the right hand.
I tell you what, I hate to see a fighter fight that tells me this is the last fight if he doesn't win. It always sounds like they got their bags packed and their tickets ready to go.
Norris said he has seen Santana fight, says he comes out as a puncher but doesn't have a lot of boxing skills, doesn't stick and move. He's flat-footed. He just stands in front of you. He's slow and he has no hand speed whatsoever. Those are the words of Terry Norris.
He's loading up too much right now. Is Santana? He's intent on doing some kind of damage, even if it's to the shoulders, arms of Terry Norris.
Santana in the green, his last fight November 12th, so congratulations to Luis for his 1-year anniversary fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, his conditioning and his chin is going to be tested tonight.
This fight kept getting pushed back, many delays according to Santana. Interestingly enough, like Michael Jordan, Terry has told us he has plans of eventually retiring from boxing and trying pro baseball. Remember, he started fighting because of a racial fight during a high school baseball game in Lubbock, Texas. Past the midway point of round 1.
I'll tell you, with the great minimum salary the baseball players get, it might not be all that bad an idea.
Well, at least as a boxer, he's working.
This is true.
Well, if Michael Jordan can take a stab at it, why not Terry Norris? But I guess the main question as to the immediate future for Terry Norris, does he want to unify the title Or go against Pernell Whitaker, which would be very attractive, or the winner of Jones-Tony.
I think his whole family's committed to boxing. All that conversation's nice, but this guy's right on top of the game. He's right on top of the heat. He's going to be around it for a few years unless somebody knocks him out. He's going to be here for a long time, Terry.
I think he might be a little too big for Whitaker, but with Tony and Roy Jones Jr., he might be a little too small. This guy's a full 168 pounds. What he may need to do is sneak up in the middleweight division, and I saw Julian Jackson lurking in the shadows. I know he still wants another crack at Terry.
The Hawk is here tonight, watching Julian Jackson. Orlin Norris with a swift Orlin Norris won earlier tonight. The older brother of Terry. We'll show you highlights of that. Terry with a nice combination. Final seconds of round one. Second world title shot for Santana. Lost to Brown in '89. Believes this is his last shot.
That's the first round, all right? Relax in boxing, okay? Use your jab. Use your jab. All right? Okay. Go up on the jab. Pump, pump, pump. Limb right hand. Okay? He's slow. He's slow. Okay? Yeah. But don't let him log you into nothing, okay? Okay. All right? Pump the jab.
Nothing new there. The main thing is don't let them lull you into anything. Apparently, the corner has the same apprehensions and cares that Terry has and that we have.
Rudy Elias, the chief trainer, but his dad, Orlin Sr., is also in the corner. Traditionally, most fighters, well, just to name Sean O'Grady, Buster Douglas, Roy Jones Jr., to name a few, have had problems with their dads in the corner. But this guy's an exception.
When I turned pro, my father would refuse to be in my corner for the same reason. Too much emotion, can't be objective about certain things. And I think the father place, for most places, shouldn't be in the ring. But Orlin Norris Sr., great boxing mind, and a tremendous, I think, inspiration for both his sons. And he's the key to ties them all together.
And he's done a great job with big brother Orlin as well. So he handles both brothers very nicely.
I'm a fan of Orlin Norris Sr.
I agree. It's the only one I've ever seen that really does come up professionally to what it should be. Jerry Quarry's father was a terrible handicap to both boys.
All right, round two scheduled for 12. Luis Santana told us he's not coming in to swarm. He feels that the main thing here is Norris comes in overconfident, that Norris has no idea what is in store for him. Well, we'll find out.
Well, I'll tell you what, he said he trained to force the fight. He is trying to force the fight, especially on the inside. Terry's tying him up. Terry hit him with a couple of really clean punches right in the buttons, and no really ill effects showing, so this may be a good long night for Terry.
Santana told us he's not concerned with Norris's power. He wants to go toe-to-toe with the champion. He is worried about the possibility of Norris running, but that is not his history. He usually goes right through his opponents. I don't think he's going to worry about that.
He's already got him a little shaky problem there. That hook put Santana back on his heels and a little shaky.
I'll tell you what, it was two hooks and with the right hand in between. He threw a couple of nice punches there, but to Santana's credit, he shook it off very quickly.
Norris returning to Mexico. You'll recall it was in Puebla, one of his worst nightmares when he lost to Simon Brown, so he's looking to avenge his Mexican nightmare.
I think the fan at home can see the difference between the quality of fighters and the punches. The punches of Norris are swift, and they do damage and they land. And the punches of Santana are softer and more like a journeyman. They don't look like they hurt you, they hit you. And they're not sharp and crisp.
Terry has all the tools, the punching power, the boxing skill, the speed, the defense, the legs. The only dent in his armor is the fact that he doesn't have a great chin. And that's the only chance right now that Santana has, because in the other areas he's just outskilled.
That's what Santana told us, looking to test the questionable chin. Troy Waters got Norris down in San Diego, but Norris came back with abandon.
And that's the kind of abandon you just saw a couple of seconds ago. Terry almost lost it as far as his control. He went into toe-to-toe with this guy, and he'll do that. When he thinks he's got him, he will put on the gas, and he gets very careless.
And Santana, really, he's got to be more careful. He just opened himself wide up for a big right hand by Terry Norris.
Another area where Terry's had some trouble. He has so much pride that when he gets staggered or hit with a good shot, or knocked down, he immediately charges his opponent because he's such a prideful man, and he has learned to put that and keep it under control.
And there you saw the quickness, the combination of Terry Norris.
Muy bien, ¿cómo es? Ahora está haciéndose bien. Tú pones lastimado con el volado, ¿tú me entiendes? Tú pones lastimado con el volado. ¿Cómo te sientes, campeón? Esa es tu noche, papá. Esa es tu noche, papá.
That's the voice of G. Elvis Phillips, who's a movie actor on the side, and he's speaking very good Spanish, and he's telling him that, hey, this is your night. You're getting too careless, and you're letting this guy come on, and he's exhorting him to punch hard.
Mira, continúa al bajo, usa tu jab para entrar.
Let's take a look at how Terry goes right under and then just picks him up and throws him. That, by the way, could cost him a point. That's not a thing you got to do. Look at Phil. He looks like he should be in New York PD. That police. Now that Caruso's gone, he can step in. But he's doing good work in the corner.
Don't tell Jimmy Smits. Yeah, he's appeared in the Body Snatchers and the Bad Lieutenant. In fact, Santana played the role of Robert De Niro's fighter in Night in the City, some popular movies.
Well, it might be night in Mexico City here pretty soon, earlier than he wants.
Night has fallen over Mexico City here. It's very comfortable. I'd say temperature in the high 60s. And enjoying the action here. Good right hand by Terry Norris.
Well, I'll tell you, for absorbing some of those clean combinations, his face, Santana, is not that much. It's not too bad. It's not swelling up. There's no blood, or at least any marks that I can see from it.
On the other hand, we're only in the third round, at the beginning of the third round. So he's got a long way to go for marks.
Oh, he'll have some of that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And some knots on top of that. Terry being patient here. Not his usual impatient walk through himself. He's fighting the fight he wants. Measured. Quiet. Effective.
Being very calm, taking his time against a man who's lost 7 of his last 10, 38, 15, and 2, 29 knockouts. And he hasn't fought since November 12th of last year in New York, when he lost a 5th-round TKO to a fighter named Ron Gibbons. So it's been exactly a year since his last fight. There's that nice extension jab by Norris. Past the halfway point of round 3.
Santana's throwing that right hand far too over looping. He's just not going to connect. Terry's going to see that and come under because, as he even said, not great speed on Santana's part.
Like all old fighters, he has not much reflexes, and when he throws that, he's so far from hitting it, it's almost ridiculous. And he'll get caught in one of those in mid-arc and get flattened.
Terrible Terry Norris in the red trunks, Luis Santana in the green, the referee Mitch Halpern.
A couple landed there. He came inside for a change instead of looping, and he was effective.
Santana looking to get Norris into a brawl, but Terry Norris wants to box, wants to be the master technician. Just look out!
He rocked.
Terry Norris is staggered a little bit.
It's that right hand to the temple again.
Another one.
He's in a little bit of trouble here.
Here's that chin we were talking about. Less than 30 seconds to go in round 3, and Luis Santana.
They're calling it a knockdown.
It's a knockdown. How could they do that?
How can they call that a knockdown? Hold it. That's not a knockdown. They were both engaged there.
He fell on top of Norris and pulled him down.
And now he got tagged.
Yes, he did. Now Santana is stunned momentarily.
I'll tell you what Terry's got to not do here is got to stay focused and relax. This is how he gets in trouble.
Yes.
Fighting back when he's hurt.
And Bobby, just what you said, he didn't get nuts. He didn't go nuts. He went back to fight easy. He did do what you said. He tried.
Don't do that.
Let's listen.
Don't do that. You gotta keep moving your upper body. You gotta keep throwing the jabs, man.
Yeah, how you feel? I mean, you
Feel good, just over a knockdown. Put me down.
all right? Don't let him catch you like that no more.
All right, I'm good.
Come punch, huh?
Come on, man.
Come on, don't stop, man.
All right, here's a manager's worst nightmare. A fighter with that kind of chin. Look at his legs. Boop, boop, boop. He's doing that kind of thing now. Watch the knockdown. Now, see, this is what Bobby was talking about. Instead of attacking, he went back to try to regroup himself. That's the new Terry Norris.
There
but
he
got
got
hit right on the chin.
Now, right here,
Now,
he refuses to let go, and the referee tries to break him. A little later on in the round, he tries to break him. Terry refuses
right there.
Right here to let go.
See, that's not a knockdown.
It wasn't a knockdown, but the referee was at a bad angle and saw the punch, and then saw Terry go to his knees.
And Norris comes scorching out of his corner. Now, wait a minute. They want to get some of that stuff off of the face of Santana. G. Elvis Phillips there. And now Norris really wants to get at Luis Santana, which could be a mistake. We'll see what happens.
Well, here's where you can tell whether you got a fighter or not. And I think Terry Norris is the kind of fighter. When he gets mad and he comes on, he'll finish this guy off.
You can clearly hear Norris in his corner say, he pulled me down. He pulled me down. That was not a knockdown. But he wants to end this right now.
Now, he's mad.
Now, Santana told us that if he does get Norris in trouble, Santana will not swarm. He'll take his time. Let's see what happens here. He may not have the time, though.
Right now, he's getting swarmed. He's getting hit hard shots. He's taking them, but they're accumulating.
Norris, as if to say, enough is enough.
I'll tell you what, little deja vu right here in Mexico against Simon Brown in the first fight. He also went down in the third round, so not a lucky place for him, Mexico.
Mexico has not been kind to Terry Norris. Meanwhile, Santana believes that God is in his corner, not only G. Elvis Phillips. Driving back from the Whitaker-McGirt fight, he and his manager escaped a car accident that he says should have killed him. So he feels that this is a sign.
Hold on.
Now, look out. And Santana struggling in the corner. Look at this.
Look at the cut. Cut on the forehead. Cut on the forehead. Goes over to see the doctor.
Bleeding profusely on the forehead.
It is really coming down his face.
Yep. Now the fans are booing Terry Norris.
They're giving him the thumbs down. He is not a popular man right now, Terry Norris. And they're taking a point away for the headbutt from Terry Norris. So Luis Santana has become the crowd favorite here, and he comes right back at Norris. Oh, what a fight we've got here all of a sudden.
Well, Santana said this was his last fight. He's going to give it all, and he's going to leave it here or win. Big low blow.
And Norris looking to end it right here.
I'll tell you what, Santana was in trouble there. Just his will kept him from hitting the dick canvas.
Santana with great heart.
Wow,
Look at his courage.
Look at Santana. He's fighting back, but he's getting hammered.
He has got some chin. What we got to watch now is, can he unload? He's taking all this punishment. Is it going to take too much starch out of him so he doesn't have the power to do it?
Can Santana get out of this round? Still a minute 10. Blood streaking down from his forehead, from a headbutt. Norris losing a point here this round, but Norris going down to the last round. Against a journeyman, 35-year-old Luis Santana.
And he was punching like a journeyman, and all of a sudden he summoned everything he had and landed right on the chin. And as we have seen in all the other fights, there's a spot in there that's weak on Terry Norris. And
it's on the side of the temple.
And it's been with Julian Jackson, it's been with Troy Waters, every one of them connected there.
Coming up to 30 seconds left in round 4. There's a cross on Santana's shoes that say, Year of the Lord on his trunks as well. Is there a miracle happening for Luis Santana?
Oh, he is taking punishment. What a heart on Luis Santana. He's taking punishment. This is his last fight. He wants to do the best he can.
I'll tell you what, he's got a good heart and a great chin because he has taken some shots.
He's definitely not in the class of Terry Norris, and yet he's putting up a heck of a fight, and now he's ahead just about, or even, because this was 1 point off.
And perhaps Norris saying to himself, what do I have to do to put this guy down?
¿Cómo le sientes, man?
Come on, work on the cut, don't just soap it up. Well, he's a good actor, but he's not a good cut man. Somebody's better work on that cut. Well, let's see what caused that knockdown. Let's go back and let's take a closer look to see, because only one guy got cut here. And that's always fascinating. Now, both of them hit. and one of them came out with a cut.
You know, I'll tell you what, sometimes it's a real shame when a butt happens. And in this particular case,
let's look at it the other way.
They're just coming to head. They're coming. Oh, Terry just, Terry kind of bent and leaned into him. That's difficult, but he has the right to cover and duck. So
now, that's exactly what Julio Cesar Chavez did. That's exactly the same thing. He patted his head, he went over to the referee, and the referee walked him over. Now, he didn't call the doctor, I don't think, did he?
Well, you're referring to Randall Chavez, too. If a fight is stopped due to an accidental butt after the completion of 3 full rounds, the winner is decided by the scorecards.
Whoa. That could have been tasty, because it's right even. I had it 28-28 at the end of 3, and now I have it 37-37.
I'm afraid I concur with you, Ferdy. We're agreeing on this one right now.
Don't be afraid, we're right.
Round 5, scheduled for 12. It has turned out to be a lot more than Terry Norris bargained for. Right hand by Norris.
Boy, what's holding him up.
I just got to say, Santana's still on his feet.
The punishment, though, is becoming too much. I can see the debilitation that's in his eyes, that's in his body. It's almost over now.
Yeah, you can't take this from a top fighter, from a guy that can punch as heavy as Terry Norris. I mean, however brave you are, you can't take it further.
A gutty effort here by Louis Santana, who's getting drilled to the face by Terry Norris.
He's getting desires to leave the building.
The crowd turning on Norris after that headbutt in the 4th round. Norris got a point deducted. Norris stunned. 35 seconds left in round 3, then went down. It was ruled a knockdown, although it seemed like he was pulled down. Oh, look at these short, crisp uppercuts by Norris.
He's a good technician. He's a terrific offensive technician. He can use his legs as a great defense when he has to, but I'll tell you what, Santana, to his credit, has got some chin.
And to the people who love Terry Norris and watch him, they got to always be apprehensive that he's going down. You can't. This guy, no matter who he fights, you got your heart in your throat when he fights.
Well, Norris, of course, lost that air of invincibility when he was decked by Troy Waters and Simon Brown. Good left hand by Norris. And Santana looking to take advantage.
Santana stunned him a little bit, but Terry,
he's hurt. Santana goes down on his back.
He hit him in the back of the head. He hit him in the back of the head, and I think we're going to have a problem with disqualification possible.
He's called the doctor.
Mitch Halpern has summoned the physician into the ring.
And this could be tricky.
But he's calling timeout for the counting.
Yeah, this could be tricky.
And he's got Terry in a neutral corner. This fight is not being stopped yet.
This could be tricky. If you hit him in the back of the head, this could be a disqualification. This could be very tricky.
Halpern saying, Terry Norris, get into the neutral corner. He did signal for a timeout.
I just saw some things start flying too, boys. We better keep our eyes peeled.
Like the doctor's saying, get up. And he's saying nothing.
Things are being thrown into the ring, and in our area now, projectiles are coming down. Seat cushions, let's hope that's all. Now, seat cushions landing in front of Terry Norris. Meanwhile, the doctor continues to check out Louis Santana, who is flat on his back just in front of us.
Santana's either doing something very bright or he's truly hurt. I mean, if he can lay there and hope that there's a disqualification, that's very smart.
He got hit with a bad left hook in the back of the head. It was a pretty good shot. He really was.
And his back was turned.
His back was turned, and Terry teed off into him, and I think it was adrenaline. I'm sure he didn't mean it, but I'll tell you what, it's a very bad shot.
Seat cushions, pads keep coming into the ring, being provided by the arena, Plaza de Toros. Let's hope we don't have a riot on our hands here.
Well, Steve, we're not in a good position for a riot, except that we have the cover of Under the Ring. Controversy follows us.
The doctor has shrugged. The doctor.
If he doesn't continue, he loses by a back.
They've gone.
Look at me. If you don't want to continue, you lose by a knockout. Is he able to get up?
Halpern said if you don't want to continue, you lose by a knockout.
Doctor's saying that if you don't get up, you've lost the fight. If you get up, they'll let him continue. The doctor's speaking in Spanish right to him. His eyelids are blinking, but he's not talking.
I don't think from the condition that he can get up.
High drama here in Mexico.
Suleiman is saying if he doesn't get up, he's lost the fight. The referee's saying it about the punch, and Suleiman's saying if he doesn't get up, he's lost the fight.
You need to get up, baby. You need to get up.
You need to get up.
You know, this is amazing. Here's a guy been laying there unconscious for about 2 minutes. Nobody's done anything to him medically. And suppose he really is out. What about the treatment? Ayúdalo.
Yes or no? Yes.
Purdy understandably upset. The fans are trying to urge Santana to his feet.
The doctor, instead of trying to examine him and find out neurologically, is there anything wrong with him? They haven't looked in his eyes. They haven't done anything. He's trying to talk him into getting up.
The
What
big
kind of doctor
picture.
is that?
He has been down, Purdy, over 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's all the more reason to give this guy emergency care. This guy could be hurt, and nobody's looking at him.
Right, forget the fight.
That's a piece of meat here all of a sudden.
¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás?
I'll tell you what, his eyes are blinking and flashing. He may be in trouble for real.
This is outrageous, Bobby and Purdy. This goes beyond the decision of the fight.
I'll tell you what, Suleiman said if he's out, he's out. But I'll tell you what, to be knocked out by a punch behind the head, if you're knocked unconscious, it's a terrible, terrible shame. No contest is better than you're knocked out.
Meanwhile, Terry Norris waiting patiently in the neutral corner.
And he's almost having to dodge some of these sick cushions flying past his head.
Okay?
Now, the doctor's looked in his eyes and he thinks he's faking. He's looked in his eyes and he thinks he's faking.
Waiting by the soft tissue.
Fellow trying to talk to the fighter to get up. That was hardly a neurological examination. He looked in his blinking eyelids, and he's just blinking, but he won't.
G. Elvis Phillips is telling us that Santana is legitimately hurt. This is one of the weirdest things that I have ever seen in boxing. It is outrageous that they are just letting him lay flat on his back without giving him medical attention, as Purdy alluded to. Obviously more important than the fight. And understandably, off to my right, Purdy is beside himself. Now, finally, Mitch Halpern is waving it off. And now they've got to get Santana some help. Meanwhile, Santana has not moved.
You know, I wonder if he got up and tried, just got up and stood up. Would he win by disqualification, or would they say to him, you have to continue with the probable concussion that he has?
If this guy is in any kind of medical distress, to wait 2.5 minutes is unconscionable while they try to decide whether the guy won or lost the fight.
He's been down nearly 5 minutes.
Nobody's helping him. Get him out. Where's the medical technicians? Where's the oxygen? Where's the guys that'll get him to the hospital? Where are these people? This guy's laying here.
All right, this is how it happened. This is what led to this fiasco.
Well, here you can see him. He's backing up to the ropes. I thought Terry got caught with a little bit of a good right hand, and now his back is totally to him, and he hit him. It actually doesn't look like it was that bad, but he hit him right in the back of the neck, base of the skull. I think Santana was going to lose anyway, but certainly not this way.
You see the timeout indication by Mitch Halpern, and now this is over 5 minutes ago, and Santana has not moved.
Here's another look at it. I mean, it's clearly a foul, but I don't think Terry meant to do it. I think he meant to reach around him, but he hit him right in the base of the skull. Here you'll see him. He ducks the right hand, spins behind him, and hits him right in the back of the head. I don't know. It didn't look like it could do this much damage, but you never can tell, especially to the skull.
This is an old fighter. He got hit in the back of the head. All he needs is one more shot like that. Now, in the meantime, the doctor, instead of giving him any resuscitative means, is cutting the gloves off. Now, that's not his function.
Well, we're looking at it one last time, Purdy, and every different angle. It doesn't look like a great left hook, but it's certainly square in the back of the head, and no one knows.
He's an old fighter, and you don't know how much damage he had coming into this place. So you don't know. These old guys can just explode there. And what we're seeing is no treatment.
What an ugly scene here in Mexico City. This could turn out to be a total travesty.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to know, who does he sue, the country of Mexico? Because right now, I'll tell you what, this is ridiculous. there is going to be talk about this. Boxing is going to be on the headlines and bashed again, I'm sure.
Understand they're trying to get some emergency personnel through the crowd into the ring to assist Luis Santana, who's no more than 2 feet in front of us.
They're finally getting the stretcher here. After hollering at Suleiman and King to get the stretchers, the paramedics here, and they don't look like much. About the only thing they brought here, there's been no examination. There's been no emergency care. There's been nothing for the benefit of the fighter. This guy could be sitting here in grave trouble, and nobody has done anything for him. Now they're finally going to carry him out on a litter.
Ferdy, how could they be this ill-prepared?
That's what I'm saying. That's the danger of boxing in these countries. Why? Here is WBC country who prides itself on all its boxing safety measures. No appropriate medication, no appropriate neurological team, no oxygen, nothing here. This might as well be in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
This might be carrying machismo a little too far.
Well, it's ill-prepared, and the horrible part is that this doctor was interested in talking him into getting up tonight to find out if he's hurt or not. No examination. This is outrageous.
A very concerned Terry Norris, who inflicted the illegal punch to the back of the head of Luis Santana. This is really a joke. One more look at what happened.
Well, no matter how many times they show this, they can't show you what's inside this guy's brain, what's inside his skull. It might be a ticking time bomb there, and just one punch like that's all it takes. He's an old fighter. He's had a long career of beatings. Anything can happen to him.
I'll tell you, chopped down on the back of his head, neck area, and like you said, Freddie, no one knows what's going on in his physical structure.
He lay on the canvas 6 or 7 minutes, to the disgust of yours truly, Ferdy Pacheco, and Bobby Ches, and many bystanders here, a frustrated and confused Terry Norris. Norris, the subject of the ridicule of the fans here for inflicting that punch. Let's go over to Jimmy Lennon Jr. right now for some kind of announcement.
Damas y caballeros, la pelea terminó a las 2 minutos 2 segundos en round número 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at 2 minutes 2 seconds, round number 5. El doctor dice que el peleador no puede continuar. The doctor says the fighter unable to continue. Referee declares him to go down due to a foul. El ganador por descalificación. The winner by way of disqualification, el nuevo campeón Luis Cucuso Santana.
They gave the title to Santana via disqualification foul. He won the title on the stretcher.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, look at the condition of Santana, who has no idea that he wins by disqualification. He is totally out of it. Luis Santana, the winner by disqualification off the foul by Terry Norris.
He said he doesn't want to talk, Ray.
It took 8 minutes and 30 seconds to get Santana out of the ring on a stretcher. Just a total travesty here in Mexico City. Terry Norris disqualified.
Steve, early in his career, I think he was disqualified once before for hitting someone who was on the ground. I know he's had a terrible habit of unloading on when a guy hits the deck. Sometimes it's just emotion and aggression and adrenaline. But Lord have mercy, that was as illegal as it could be. Terry's certainly the better fighter, but not like that.
And, you know, I never said this, but now all we can do is pray for Luis Santana.
That is a terrible shame. No small black eye for boxing, I'm sure.
All right, we obviously need some clarification from the bosses. Let's go over to the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, in the ring.
We're standing here with very concerned Jose Suleiman as the head of the WBC. The WBC has always held for boxing safety, yet on this night, we have a doctor that came over, stood over a fellow for 5 minutes, a fallen fighter, and never examined him and asked him repeatedly to get up and continue to fight. Now, Mr. Suleiman, why in the world did you send over a doctor that could examine the fighter?
The doctor that examined the fighter is the chief doctor of the local boxing commission. Let me just answer what I know, because the WBC is not the local boxing commission. The doctor told us that after seeing the fighter, that the reaction of his nerves when he was examining that he thought that the fight could continue, and he didn't want to continue. While we were, I asked him then again to please come and check him again, because it was strange that he
Mr. Solomon, we know each other now for 20 some odd years. You know I'm a fight doctor. You know I've seen hundreds and hundreds of knocked out fighters. You know you've seen me examine fighters when they're down. This man did not examine the fighter. He did not look in his eyes until I screamed at him to at least look into his eye. He'd been down there for 5 minutes to call help for paramedics. No one did until you instructed him to come over when I hollered at you. And Don King hollered to come over and help the fighter. That man would have still been laying there, and the only issue here was whether Terry Norris lost the title. It doesn't make any difference when this guy is laying there in danger. So I think that it was a terrific mistake on the part of the doctor and the boxing commissioner, and I would like never to see that happen again, especially right in front of me. And addressing the other issue, Terry Norris lost his championship, and that you have to answer to.
Well, what I think is this demonstrates the WBC, regardless, it's very unpopular for Terry Norris. Everybody's seen that he was winning the fight, but the rules and regulations the WBC adhere to. This is not like what happened in Atlantic City when Riddick Bowe knocked out the guy he was fighting while he was on one knee, and they come up with a no contest. It takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to really render the fair and just decision. And the fair and just decision was rendered tonight because regardless of how it looked, Terry Norris fouled the man, and he fouled the man intentionally, so therefore the WBC rendered that Terry will lose his title, and the man who lost, that was carried out on the stretcher, is now the champion of the world, and that's the difference between Atlantic City and here in Mexico with the WBC.
And I think that you pray along with me that he recovers in time to find out that he is the champion, because that issue has not been solved. I hope he's well. I hope he has nothing wrong with him, and let us all pray that are sitting watching that disastrous spectacle that we saw of nobody examined him did not result in further injury to him, and I hope he recovers. I'm sure you do too.
I certainly do. Shorty, I pray that the guy is all right. Safety to the boxers first and foremost. We all pray for that. Many times I think that people get confused. They thought the guy would be laying there. I thought he may be playing possum, but the doctor's job ain't to guess whether he's playing possum or not playing possum. His job is to go and give medical aid, and that's why the failure came in, and Luke, that he didn't go get the medical aid first and forget about what the decision would be second.
That's right. That's it. And so now back to Steve and Bobby at ringside.
All right, thank you, Ferdy. Now, I don't argue with what they're saying, that it was a good call as far as the disqualification is concerned, but I don't like the fact that the guy is shifting the blame to the local Mexican authorities. Somebody's got to take the blame for this. This is a joke. It's a travesty. You know, they saw after a minute or two that the guy was out of it. Enough is enough.
I think it's reasonably fair that this doctor take the blunt of this blame, because he, in essence, has to take care of the health first. That's the issue. As we're watching a replay, and you're going to see when he gets hit on the back of the neck, the doctor is the one that has to ensure safety first. Worry about the rules later. Worry about the fight later. Worry about the outcome later. Clearly, it was a foul. Terry, turned around, saw him, hit him there. I feel bad for Terry Norris. I do admire Jose Sulaiman and WBC rules standing up. They are right. Riddick Bowe did hit Buster Mathis Jr. dead when he was down, and they did nothing about it. This time, somebody acted.
It took 8.5 minutes before they finally got Santana out of the ring on a stretcher. There are a lot of people walking around here that are stunned, understandably so. And I tell you what was really shocking to us, it happened no more than 2 feet in front of us. You still see the wetness and the perspiration of Santana there on the canvas right out in front of us.
And because it was so close, Ferdy actually climbed in there and helped get him some help. So
well,
I think in no small part due to Ferdy, they got help in quicker. It was still late in coming, but
this was educational. I'll tell you, Ferdy, who obviously is a doctor, and for so many years the personal physician of the great Muhammad Ali, was beside himself. He took the headsets off, he climbed up into the ring, and he was admonishing people and trying to give them advice on what to do. He was telling G. Elvis Phillips, the manager, forget about the fight.
Yeah.
And just
I don't think
keep your eye out for the fighter.
I know Grant very well. We've been friends for a long time. I think, and I looked in his eyes and I saw him right above us, as you say, just a few feet. I could hear him screaming, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And then he screamed at the WBC official that the hell with the fight, get something. But Ferdy was the one who basically was the catalyst to get somebody in there, because he was screaming at everybody.
You know, I don't want to appear over dramatic or melodramatic, but he may have saved his life.
You know, we can't know right now. Again, 35 years old, a hit behind the head that he didn't see, he didn't prepare for. At least when you get hit with a punch that you see coming, your mind kind of braces your body. Here he's hitting the back of the neck, lower skull. anything could have gone wrong, could have been a bad day.
All right, Bobby, a sad, ugly incident right out in front of us. We pray for Luis Santana. As soon as we hear anything, we'll pass it on to you regarding the condition of Santana. Let's go back upstairs to Jim Hill.